Hello everyone, this is Diane, and it is story time. This is the story of how I became a junk journal maker. People have been asking me how that came about. So I've been thinking about how to tell you how it all happened, and I'm going back to my original journal days. Even when I was a teenager, I kept a journal. I don't have any of those journals now. I wish I did. Might be embarrassing. But when I was busy raising my children, I didn't keep journals. But I started up again, and I have stacks of these kind of journals, these store-bought journals. This one goes all the way back to 1998. And like I said, there were periods of time when I didn't write in journals because, for one reason or another. But I've been a journaler for a very long time. It's more like keeping a diary. I don't think I write a lot of deep, dark thoughts. It's just a diary of my days. And, well, one day my daughter introduced me to Pinterest. And boy, I tell you, for a while there, I stayed up late every night because I couldn't get off of Pinterest. I was looking at stuff and pinning stuff, and it just was exciting. Especially as a crafter, you could find all these craft ideas on there. And one day, as I was looking through Pinterest, I came across something called a smash book and a bind it all. And I don't know which I saw first. I don't remember if I saw the smash book first or the bind it all first. So I'll show you one of each, because I do have the K & Company smash book. This is one that I picked up on clearance quite some time ago. They don't even have these in the stores anymore. But it was the tasty style one, and I thought I could write about recipes and restaurants and stuff in here. And I haven't used it, and I probably won't. So I'll probably start taking the pages out of it and putting them in my journals. This was the first one that I bought, and I colored the cover, and I did actually use this one, and it's pretty full. So this is what a smash book looks like. The original K & Company smash book. It has funky pages, very, some of them are quite unusual and fun, and you just write in it, put pictures in it, put your memorabilia in it, just fill it right up. Smash your stuff in it without making a gorgeous spread, like a scrapbook spread. So it's just to keep stuff in, that's all it was. And then I was drawn to YouTube through Pinterest because I saw people making their own smash books. So I told my husband, when I saw the Zutter bind it all and what people were making with it, I was so excited, and I showed it to my husband on a YouTube video, and he knew I had to have one because he knew that this was something that I would have a ball making. So we ordered it online, and we got different sizes of O-wires. Now I just use the 1-inch O-wires, and I buy them in bulk. I haven't bought them in a while because I haven't been making a lot of smash books, but I have some in white and black and silver, the 1-inch wires. So this is the wire that you use to bind your book. And this is the little thing that punches the holes and then squeezes the wires shut. So this is how I got started making smash books and junk journals. I started making my own smash books, and I was so excited about doing it. Look how fat that one is. This is one of my first ones. The paper is wearing. It's got my name on the front. I remember going to Joann's, and they had a lot of scrapbook paper back then, some really pretty double-sided papers, and I spent a lot of money stocking up on supplies. So this was one of my first smash books that I made, and I filled it up. And then I started taking them to a little shop in the town where I live, and I sold some. People loved them. And then then I learned about junk journals, and I saw, because I was watching YouTube, and one thing leads to another. Well, let me show you one of the last junk smash books that I made. It's got some really gorgeous papers in it, and I loved this one. Well, you can't really see the papers because I filled it up with stuff. I loved working in it, and I have a whole bunch of stuff that needs to go in smash books that I haven't even done in a long time. So anyway, my YouTube viewing moved from smash books to junk journals. I was watching both, but I was still using the Bind It All. So this is one of the first junk journals that I made, but I still made it with my Bind It All, and I did some collaging on the front and the back. And I actually used this as a journal, but it still had stamps and things glued in, pockets and whatnot. So this is kind of a cross between a smash book and a junk journal, but I guess this is a true junk journal. It's made with all kinds of papers, and it does have stuff glued into it. I even used a DVD sleeve to put some pictures in. And this one also was a journal that I made, and I wrote in it. This one doesn't have as much stuff glued in. There's a little bit. So those are junk journals made with my Bind It All. And I joined Junk Journal Junkies, and the first journal that I swapped on Junk Journal Junkies, well, I had to make one as a sample, and that one I made with the Bind It All. But then I realized that most of the people on Junk Journal Junkies were sewing their journals together, and I didn't really know how to do that. But I watched a video by an Australian lady, and I cannot think of her name right now. But she showed how to make a junk journal, how to sew it in, and so I followed her tutorial and I made this. It's got duct tape on the binding. I made it with an old Gone with the Wind book, and I collaged on the front, and it's pretty simple. It has basically, the additions are just these shapes that I folded over the edges or the tops and sewed them on. And then there's envelopes in there. There's not a lot of embellishment. There's a lot of pretty papers in here, but not a lot of embellishment. But I love this journal. It was very fun to make, and I was very excited when I made it. So this was my first one that had the sewn-in signatures. So I began swapping on Junk Journal Junkies with the sewn-in signatures. This is one of the early ones, and this also has duct tape on the spine, but it's a fabric duct tape. And this was Vintage Ladies, and it still has very eclectic papers in it. It has book pages. I made it junky, you know. It has vintage papers, and I thought this was great. I had a lot of fun making it. This was a Vintage Lady swap, and I made one for myself too, so I got to keep one very similar to what I swapped. There's an envelope. And then I realized that a lot of the journals that were being made on Junk Journal Junkies were made with digital kits, which I had never used. And they were very pretty and elegant or vintage, or they weren't junky. They didn't have all of the, like, the mail pieces and stuff like that in it. So I thought maybe mine weren't good enough, and I started making mine a little more refined. But I still love the junky stuff. I love it. I like putting it all together into a book that you can use. So sometimes my journals are done with a digital kit and very theme oriented, and I love doing them. They're very fun and people love them. And I just have a very eclectic style. You never know what you're going to get from me. But I also still love to make my junky ones. And I want to do more of the junky ones than I have been in recent times. So now I make cloth covered ones. This is an old one from remains of the day type of journal. And it's just a junk journal sewn into a fabric cover. And I loved this one too. This one took me a long time to do. It's the first one I really did a lot of sewing on the pages. I did do sewing on the pages of that first journal that I made. This has a lot more sewing, and that's when I really fell in love with sewing on the pages. This is my first patchwork page, what everybody now calls frankenpaper, but I just had my scraps and sewed them all together on this page. And I didn't even do anything to it because I just liked the way it looked. So I didn't add anything. And here I actually added acetate pocket. So you see that a lot now too. Not that I came up with that. I think I saw that on a Remains of the Day journal. But I used, this is from a record from Camelot, the soundtrack from Camelot. I peeled it. Or maybe it's from the sleeve. But I did use the cover and something. So anyway, this is a very eclectic one with all kinds of junk in it. But it was very fun. Just a little scrapbook paper up there. I just thought it was so fun to put together. There's the other part of the patchwork paper. So now I make junky journals, and I make nice themed journals. This is one made with fabric, and it had a Renaissance type of theme to it. And this one is my chocolate journal that I made for myself that I absolutely love. So I do make elegant looking journals, but I still like to make the chunkier ones. That was junky, not chunky. Although this one's pretty chunky. So anyway, I just finished, what did I just finish making? Teddy bear journals. And I have a couple more design team projects to make before I can make some more junky journals. And I'm going to be making some smash books because someone just recently asked me if I could make her a smash book so she can buy it for herself for her birthday. So I'm going to be making a few of them, and that'll be fun to get back to doing again. So that's the story of how I got to make junk journals. And this is the craft that got me, that snagged me. Oh yeah, in between the smash books and the junk journals were the mini albums, because the YouTube videos also led me to mini albums. Kathy Orta and other people like her that made gorgeous, gorgeous mini albums. And I made a couple, but I decided that they weren't really me. So this is me, the junk journals. And I love doing it. I hope to do it for a long, long time because I have a lot of supplies that I have to use. So I hope you enjoyed this little story about how I came to be a junk journal artist. I enjoyed sharing it with you, and it would be nice if you shared with me your stories of how you came to this lovely craft. I will see you again soon. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.